Hey yo everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to Tavian's World of Reptiles. If this is your first time to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for watching yet another one of my videos. I was asked to do a video about a topic that has a lot of controversy around it, both within the community and from outside of the community, and that is keeping snakes in tubs or rack systems. I really did want to address this topic. However, I really want to think about how best I wanted to do that. And so I've actually decided that this is just going to be one of a series of videos. I don't know how many videos. I don't even know all the topics yet, but I feel like this can't be answered in one solid video, at least not from me. So I'm going to take time to break this up in a couple of different videos because I feel like this topic is just it's not just black and white. There's so much more to the topic that needs to be considered. I'm not going to try to bring this to you in a way that swings your decision one way or another. You're entitled to your opinions. I am going to try to bring you as much information as I can for you to ponder and think about before passing judgments on those who choose to keep whichever way it is they choose to keep their snakes. This particular video is just me explaining why I chose to go this route and talking about why I think this subject is such a complicated subject. You know, we've got, on one hand, we've got private keepers who are just hobbyists like myself. On the other hand, we've got breeders who keep massive amounts of snakes. What expectations can we have for these individual groups? Can we truly expect to have the same expectations for private keepers that we have for our breeders? So that's a factor to consider. Within each one of those are things to consider as well. When it comes to breeders, what expectations can we truly have for them when they have at any time over 100 baby snakes that are quickly turning over and then more coming in? What expectations can we have for those? And then what expectations can we have for their actual breeding snakes who are actually sticking around for, you know, years upon years? Are we to have higher expectations for breeders when it comes to their breeding snakes? What about those snakes that don't turn over as quickly? What expectations can we have around those? So those are some different things that we can think about when it comes to our expectations of breeders. When it comes to you know, hobbyists like myself, what expectations can we have for them? Are we to have a higher expectation for them because of the differences in what they are doing with their snakes? For those who keep their snakes in tubs, is it okay for them to choose to keep their snakes in tubs, and why? Is there a wrong way? Is there a right way to keeping their snakes in tubs? Or should we have expectations for them that if they take their snake away from these breeders, that we should expect them to have larger, more elaborate enclosures like you see behind me? Or is it okay in certain circumstances where it is okay for a private keeper to keep their snakes in tubs with expectations of moving to something higher? There are so many different things to consider. There are just a lot of conflicting feelings about it from within the community, but there is really no right answer at this correct time. But I really do want to address each of those individual layers to this, because that's really what it is when it comes to this topic. There are many layers that need to be talked about and discussed and considered before passing judgment. Now, when it comes to a lot of the judgment that's happening from the outside of the community, I do feel like there's a reason for that, mostly because some of the biggest presences we have when it comes to having visibility are coming from very big breeders. So when people are seeing videos for the first time of people who keep snakes, most of the time it's these really giant breeders, and that means rooms with rows upon rows of drawers with snakes in them or other reptiles in them. And so people are thinking, oh my gosh, puppy mills, and oh, that's got to be horrible. How can those poor things stay in those little boxes for so long? It's just so inhumane. And there's so many things that they're not really considering what they're seeing, as opposed to, you know, some of those keepers who are like myself, who show my more private collection, who I'm not a breeder, and so what I have is different than what they're seeing in those videos. So I think that plays a huge factor in what people from the outside are seeing. Something else that I just want to go back to and touch a little bit more on is the fact that there is just not enough information about this. Something that I personally would like to see is I'd like to be able to see more studies done on the stress factors of the snakes in these different conditions. I would like to be able to monitor the stress levels of snakes in tubs versus stress levels of snakes kept in larger, more terrestrial or whatever enclosures, as well as comparing that data to the different levels of stress that snakes in the wild actually experience, and then trying to figure out which works best, or if it even matters which condition we're keeping the snakes in, as long as we are actually providing them enough to stay in a healthy state. So that's just something else that I think will be super important to have in our future, if that's even something that can be done. So this video was really just to lay that all out, that there are so many different things to consider, both from the breeder aspect as well as from the private keeper aspect. And I really just want to touch on each one of those layers in a different way on a different video, because I don't feel like for myself, if I try to tackle it all in one video, I'm going to miss stuff, and I'm probably even still going to miss stuff. So I'm actually kind of relying on you guys to put in the comments some things that maybe I'm not even considering. Like, is there another thing besides just breeders and just hobbyists to consider? Are there more layers to think about within breeder keeping to think about? Are there more layers to think about within hobbyist keeping to think about? I want to hear all of those different things, and I definitely want to tackle each one of those and bring those to the forefront, because there's a lot of people with opinions out there, but not enough information, and they're just saying one thing and they're running with it, but there's so many different things to be considered. I myself have various different opinions when it comes to tub keeping. I have expectations when it comes to tub keeping. I even have expectations of some breeders that I don't really feel like are being met sometimes. And so as I reach those, I will definitely talk about that from my own perspective and how I view it. But as I said, for the most part, this video is just going to be, in these series of videos, are just going to be about bringing you all the different layers there is to this topic of keeping snakes in tubs, because it's not in any way, shape, or form just black and white. There's so much to think about and there's so much to consider, and I just want to take the time to lay it all out and help you guys have as much information as you can to make your own choices, to come to your own opinions. That's really it for this video. I really want you guys to fill in that comment box. I want to see all those comments about things that I may not be considering, that I may not have laid out in this particular video. This is TWR, everybody. You guys take care of yourselves, love your reptiles, love your loved ones, and you guys keep spreading those herbs.